Hello, folks. Welcome back to High Fantasy Podcast, and we're back with our episode review for Game of Thrones, and we're doing episode 3, The Long Night.
AKA The Long Fight. Longest battle scene in film and television history.
Yeah.
Because it was literally the entire episode, basically.
Yeah.
And that was what? It was 80-minute episode?
Yeah, it was like 82 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
quite a lot of minutes.
And you also just said it was the
Most watched. Yeah.
According to, is this Wikipedia or something?
IGN.
Oh, shit. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Most watched episode ever of Game of Thrones.
Makes sense. It's probably one of the most impactful. Or should I say, it's the result of over 8 years of television in this one episode. So I guess I won't hide it for too long, but let's just say that Uncle Morgan wasn't too pleased with some things. Yeah,
I think we both agreed that we wished it wasn't the resolution, and everything else was like pretty great. You know,
and the thing is that we were listening to some other theorists, shall we say, about this show and even the book series as well.
Yeah.
And they perfectly predicted what was going to occur. Turns out Mr. Night King is kind of like the controller of the hive mind. So if you kill the queen bee, all the other ones just kind of go, fuck it, we're dead now. Yeah, they explode or they just drop.
Yeah.
And someone, I think it was, I'll cut it out, but I remember Preston Jacobs was like, or fuck it, let's just I'll do a name drop. Preston Jacobs, fucking love this guy. He's so awesome. He was saying it would be like in Star Wars Episode 1 where all the droids just suddenly become, they just die, they keel over because, that's pretty much what happened. And then he actually verbatim said Arya Stark might, he predicted that.
I think so.
He said he accurately predicted that Arya Stark was gonna kill the Night King and use the Valyrian seal dagger.
Yeah, I think it actually. That might have me just be hyperbolizing it, but I think it was Preston or him and Red Team Review talking about it on their podcast. But I think they talked about how Arya, they were like, this is the worst case scenario. There's gonna be this scene with Arya and she's gonna have her dagger and she's gonna attack a White Walker and kill a White Walker that way. And that was their worst case scenario.
Okay, yeah.
It turned out to be the fucking Night King. That's the White Walker that she ends up killing. And
I know. Yeah.
I can't wait until his review comes out.
I know. I've been checking daily since it came out Sunday. We're recording this Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And that can't come soon enough. Because I know it's just gonna be eviscerated, absolutely destroyed. But that being said, I should probably. But let's just complete the thought.
Yeah.
It was super anticlimactic.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Now, that being said, again, this was one of the most action-packed episodes ever, because it was basically nonstop. There was a lot of moments where they really leveraged. I was having an anxiety attack watching this entire episode.
Yeah.
And I had espresso earlier in the day.
Yeah, you had it 7 p.m., which is
and we watched
a bad idea.
At 9 or something.
Yeah,
just brutal. And I was, because there's so many times when they were like, should we kill this person? We're going to kill this person? Yeah. Is he going to get killed? Yeah? No. Oh, no. And, people that I thought were going to die, died.
Mm-hmm. A very minimal amount of people died as well.
Yeah, I thought that they were really going to clean house, but it turns out it was a lot of supporting characters who kind of had tired storylines, or you could kind of be like, what are they going to do?
Yeah, it was kind of the end of their story for sure.
I almost thought they were going to do something fucking crazy, and that they were going to have Tyrion and Sansa stab, commit suicide in the crypt.
That was so sad.
I was like, okay. Because at that point, most of the people who died in that episode have already been killed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my, here's the fucking cherry on the cake, right? This is just gonna be.
Oh my god, I feel like I would have almost welcomed that in a way. Like, maybe not Sansa, but I feel like Tyrion's kind of at the end of his whole game now. Just in the way that the show, like, the writers write him now. He's just kind of doing the same thing over and over with witty remarks and bad mistakes and not really contributing that well. Like, if after all of this, like, okay, we killed the Night King in one episode, hooray, but then it turns out like some people committed suicide in the crypt or something. Like, if Tyrion and Sansa did that, it's like, oh my god, like, that's the unpredictable moment here. Akin to like Ned Stark's own death, because like you wouldn't have expected it. I feel like I blocked out that whole scene with Tyrion and Sansa like sobbing, and like he's like kissing her hand, and I was like, oh my god, like I barely can remember that scene because I was like, no, I can't watch this. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. But nothing happened. So
yeah, there was that. And many people, like reviewers and stuff like that, have like lauded the episode for how well it was shot, and like, again, the action was very well done. From a cinematographer. Yeah, cinematographer. From a cinematic standpoint, like, fantastic, right? But there's also the element where they use darkness because obviously it's a long night, but they use it. Like, there's so many cheesy action movies where, especially like the martial arts movies or ones like in the Middle Ages and shit, where they always have the fight scenes at night, so that way they can use way less people, and then they just do that quick cut, like everything it's kind of blurry, everything's super fast, you don't really know, and it feels like a lot's going on. Really, like, it was clever camera work to make it seem a lot better.
And they had 55 days of shooting, or nights, I guess, because it was actual nighttime. Which is crazy. But there is a meme out there of like it was too dark. Like, people who even had like 4K TVs and smart TVs and things like that, they like couldn't see shit. Like, we didn't have a good quality sort of viewing of it ourselves. But like people who were actually like, you know, had this whole thing set up, like, they were kind of like, what? I can't see anything. And I guess that was a bit of a letdown for them. They were comparing it to the Helm's Deep battle, where everything was super dark, but there was like this weird sort of glaze of light in a way from the rain.
Yeah, well, there was that, and they also had floodlights, so it made it seem like it was at night, but like, you know, and they definitely leveraged like
I feel like the way that Game of Thrones did it though was more natural, and it was very like a 2003 kind of thing that Helm's Deep did. So I'm not saying that they should have done something like that, but yeah.
But again, like, going back to the things that are wrong, like, man, it's just so frustrating. So, okay, number one, like the
can we? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, the military. No, no, the military tactics here.
Yes, let's break it down, Morgan, because you know a lot of worst tactics.
So the first thing they do is they take their best cavalry regiment, Dothraki, and they send them into darkness, charging at an enemy. They have no idea what their position is. They haven't seen them advance. They just think that they're there. And they get utterly decimated, right? And it's just like, why would you do that? It's like, can you not have sent maybe a few bands of scouts ahead?
Exactly.
Or maybe you just take the dragons and fly overhead, and then you go, oh, look, there's an army of the dead there. Okay, let's burn some of them so that way they can impede their advance. And so what happens is, and again, they did this because they wanted them to advance, and then this hordes of zombies are just ripping apart all of the infantry, and then like the Unsullied are like just getting, like, they have like totally met their match in terms of just how crazy they are. And the trench was not big enough. It's like, if you're gonna make a trench, it has to be super wide. It has to be deep. It's gotta be full of fucking fire and like and stakes and stuff.
It was like 4 feet long.
It was like
what the hell?
It was really not big enough, and that's
Yeah.
why I was laughing when the dead started just laying on top of it to make a bridge, and I go, this is what they would have done in an actual battle. Like, they just would have thrown dead bodies on it.
Yeah.
Or shields or something, and just made a fucking bridge over that, because it's such a non-obstacle.
Yeah. I guess maybe with the icy ground it was hard or something, but yeah, it really was like such a tiny barrier. And I guess this is what like they wanted to do, was to have these beats of, oh my god, they're so totally fucked. And then it's just to like, oh, like they might have a chance, especially when Mel came out and did the fire thing, and especially with the wall of fire as well. Like it took a long time for her to light it up.
Yeah.
And then like seeing the Dothraki like charge, and then all the lights sort of flicker out. Oh my god, that was horrifying.
No, and I knew that was going to happen. I go, it's just such a predictable. Yeah. Like, why would you have them charge?
Yeah, maybe like they were already like they felt egotistical enough to go ahead and do it, but why were they at the front anyway?
I don't know.
And I think it was rational in terms of production, because I've seen some like people saying that Dothraki are very hard to maintain in the show. That's why you don't see them as often anymore, because it's like horses. You need like trained extras who can like ride horseback and do archery at the same time. You know, it's just a lot of stuff. So they wanted to get rid of them. And
which is my other comment, not like to jump in, was okay, so they have the Dothraki here. And none of them are horse archers. Like, they all just have the one sword. That's lit on fire, and go, okay, so there's one. So even if they were gonna send them ahead, it's like, okay, so as soon as they see the enemy, they okay, here, boys, now we start shooting. So they shoot and then retreat. And that's a classic tactic, right? To use horse archers.
You don't.
There was that.
You don't go head on.
And then there's the part, so the dead are approaching the castle walls, and they go, archers, ready, or get into position. And I go, okay, so they weren't there already? Why were there not archers on the walls already? with fucking tons of fire arrows and catapults ready to shoot them as they are coming.
Yeah, it was really...
And I know because you made the point, like, they were doing it so that way they made it seem like there's a really good chance that they're going to lose here. And overall, it was just exhausting and frustrating to watch this episode, despite, again, how good it was shot. It's just like the forms were really good, but the content was just not there. And I just was like,
why are they doing this? Another point with the Dothraki is that they wanted Dany to do something irrational, because as soon as she saw that the Dothraki basically ended as a culture of people, she's like, okay, I need to like get down there with Drogon. And Jon is like, no, we have to wait till the Night King, which is like the dumbest plan ever. Like, why can't you go and attack and then retreat and then like wait for the Night King? It's not like you're ambushing them. They know that you have 2 dragons. You know, so yeah. And then it kind of just, the plan just, I guess, spiraled out from there. But I mean, even at the beginning, I was kind of like, are the whites even there? Like, you don't see them at all. What if they just aren't there and there's no actual threat coming at them? A theory that I heard, and it's from my friend and follower of this podcast, Sage. Shout out to Sage. She mentioned that maybe the Night King was going down to King's Landing to turn everyone there and bring them back to Winterfell and make Cersei an Ice Queen, because in the episode 2 ending, we don't see the Night King in the formation of White Walkers. So it's like, oh, maybe he went by a dragon back and was going to eviscerate King's Landing. And I feel like that would have been a better idea, because like now we just don't have the Winter is Coming plot anymore. It just ended with this one episode.
It ended. It's just such an abrupt, and like that last scene where it's like Mr. Night King, and then like the Swedish hair metal band, his entourage just kind of following. Like, you can just tell, like, they got these guys that are like 6 like over 6 feet tall, and like,
Yeah.
they all have long blonde hair. And
Yeah.
they just did a bunch of makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty like metal looking for sure.
So they got
White
them.
Walker band.
And Theon does his charge.
That was very sweet, and I do like the way that he got murdered. He got axed out of the show. I think it was a good character arc, and I really enjoyed what Bran said to him before he did it. He was like, "You're a good man, Theon. Thank you." And you know, I realized at that moment, no one says thank you in this fucking show, and we knew that from season 1 when Jorah says to Dany, "There is no thank you in Dothraki." And so to come like kind of full circle and at the end for one of the like most like vile and annoying characters and who has like an incredible arc, to have him be told thank you for what he's done. It's very on point for Game of Thrones, and I enjoyed that bit. Can we talk about Arya as the person who ended up killing the White Walkers? And
Yeah, that was some Assassin's Creed shit right there.
just jumping at
That
it.
was an aerial assassination, jumped off a fucking cathedral,
Yeah.
assassinated the target.
And I've seen so many analyses of like, okay, the wall surrounding the Godswood is way too far. It's like at least 500 meters. Like you can't jump that way. Some people tried to argue that in that like very extended library scene where she's like trying to avoid all these zombies, that's supposed to show us that she's really good at hiding from undead people. It's like, no, there's no cover in the Godswood. It's trees.
Let's just call it what it was. It was a cheese ball fucking shot, okay? It wasn't good.
I really hope they like explain what happened, but I had this theory that Melisandre gave her powers to Arya, and that's why at the end she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna die anyway. It's fine. I'm gonna give her some powers." But I realized that Arya just walked off from that scene without Melisandre, so Arya was going to kill the White Walkers like on her own. But okay, this is how I would have fixed it, because I actually don't have a problem with Arya killing the Night King. It's just the way they did it. So you know how Beric Dondarrion and Melisandre come at the end with Clegane, with Arya. They're all three people who have an identity with fire. So Clegane is afraid of fire. Beric has been resurrected in the name of the Lord of the Light, and Melisandre is a Red Priestess. And we learn from Melisandre that Beric was supposed to be here at this moment to save Arya, to make sure that she goes and kills the Night King. And it just seems like such a flimsy reason to keep resurrecting this dude, like 16 times over, however many times, just so he can save this one girl. Why him? He's so irreplaceable. It could have been literally anyone. So what I would have liked to seen is, with Beric in his dying breath, give the fire that's fueling him to Arya, and then Melisandre's doing some sort of transfusion and giving it to Arya, and she's now blessed with the Lord of Light's power, and then we have the Lord of the Light against the Great Other, and that would have made narratological sense now. But they didn't do that. They were just like, oh, Beric was just supposed to be here, and it's all, you're where you're belonging. You are where you belong. And it just doesn't make any sense. But that's how I would have fixed that. And it would have been so easy. You just needed a little bit more pyrotechnics. Just, add a little bit of dialogue. Would have made so much more sense. And you would have been like, holy shit, Arya's like now a fire demon, So that's my rant. Slash and rant.
Yeah.
We shall see. On to big bad boss Cersei.
Yeah, it's gonna be final boss battle.
Yeah, this is my flimsy prediction, or I guess hopeful prediction for the future, is the Night King's consciousness actually fled into Bran's memory, and he turns into a villain, and we still get this integral part of Game of Thrones continued on into the next episodes. Okay, on that note, I think that's all we have to say right now about The Long Night. So that's it from us, folks. Hope you join us for our next episode reviews. And yeah, have a good one. Take care. If you like this episode of our podcast, you can follow us on our social media to get updates on our future episodes. On Facebook, we're at facebook.com/highfantasypodcast. On Instagram, we're at highfantasypodcast. And on Twitter, we're at podcast_fantasy. And don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube as well.